everyone, it is your friendly event strategist, Asha Dawson, here from Event Productions by Jen, here to make your day meaningful and manageable. Today's video is about the top 5 expenses that you can cut from your wedding budget. Let's get right into it. Number 1, over-the-top stationery. Paper goods are amazing keepsakes. They are wonderful things to have. They fuel our excitement as brides when you're sitting there making these great invites that you're gonna mail out. They also can take you hundreds and hundreds of dollars over budget. So, what are some ways that you can have an invite, you can have the beauty, and cut the cost? Well, one of the ways that a lot of brides are doing this is by fully going digital. I know it feels less personal. It is also way more effective with communicating with guests. The last thing you want to worry about is, did such and such receive this in the mail? Do we have tracking for the invitation? We sent out this many and oh my gosh, I got 30 pieces of mail back in return, right? Which can cause more expense, more confusion. So, Zola, wedding wires, suite, so thinking about the knot, right? These are great platforms to manage RSVPs, and you can create beautiful designs. If you want something that's more premium, more elite, where there's less expense, but a little bit more originality, Paperless Post is a fantastic source where you can pay a smaller fee to have beautiful envelopes and animated displays of invitations. Number 2, party favors. Okay. Party favors that people are supposed to take home. I'm talking about those classic bags of mints, right? Or the, the things that you put in with like almonds and what have you, that sit at the table at the reception. We're cutting those costs, okay? One of the ideas that I've seen very popular, that my client actually has done, is to have the fun party favors that are the cheap things that no one takes home. So for example, streamers, having the long light up rods that people just get on the dance floor. Those are the kinds of cheap things that make the party more memorable, but cut a ton of costs for you, because the truth of the matter is that whenever you give people individualized party favors, they get left at the table. People are drinking, people are moving around, they forget that it's there, or they consume the good and then it no longer serves a purpose, right? So we can cut back hundreds of dollars on those party favors. Number 3, elaborate ceremony programs. What we're doing is utility with programs that are on paper or a single sign. A lot of brides, what they have decided to do is create one beautiful custom sign that has the order of service, has all of the wedding party names at the start of the ceremony. So as people are walking in, they can take a picture with their phones, they can get a sense, right? The truth of the matter is that no one's really taking home those programs except for a select group of folks. If you have it in your budget, it is nice to have those ceremony programs. Because some people like keepsakes, particularly the older generation. So if you're feeling like, I don't know, grandma may want to take a few of these home, why don't you have a utility focused ceremony program? So say for instance, you have an outdoor ceremony. Here in Atlanta, I'm always considering this because it gets humid. People are sitting outside. If you have an outdoor ceremony, it can never hurt to have a fan, right? And so what I have seen brides do, I have a client right now, and she was just telling me she's all excited about her custom ceremony fans that are gonna be sitting at every seat. And so guests will have the ability to take that fan with them. They can have it throughout the night. Fans are very cheap to make. And they can literally just be the backward forward ones, right? They do not have to be elaborate, boots on the ground fans, right? They can be those simple back and front fans, maybe with a picture of the couple on one side and the order of service and wedding party on the other side. And they're great items to take home as well for those who do want to, but they're not gonna break your budget like printing beautiful ceremony programs on tons of paper, okay? Another thing about those fans that's nice is you could even restrict the cost more by only printing half, right? Printing half the amount of your guest count and having a greeter control at the beginning as people come in who gets a fan, right? They're available upon request. And then number 4, we're getting rid of the elaborate cake designs, okay? Those are a luxury good that oftentimes don't go beyond a photo op. So one thing that I have seen couples do, I had a client who was super creative in how they did it. So here's how she had it set up. She had this beautiful 4 or 5 tier cake, okay? And it came down from the ceiling. It was literally coming down on a string. It was a big presentation, big cake cutting thing. Everyone thought this was the real cake. The only thing that was real about that cake was the bottom layer. Everything else on top was cardboard. And it was beautiful because they had their big cake cutting moment. They had this pretty design, and they didn't spend much more than $50, right? On a 1-tiered designed cake, right? At the bottom. And so they had their cake cutting moment. And then in the back, what you have, and this is a trend in general, a lot of couples are doing, right? They had a Publix sheet cake, okay? For those of you who don't shop at Publix, those of you who aren't in the South, Publix is like our Kroger. And so you basically have a $25, $30 sheet cake in the back that's being cut up, slices are being brought out to guests, and it's all a big illusion, right? So we don't actually have to spend the $500, $600, $700, $800 for a multi-tier cake. You can spend a little bit of money on the design and people will think they are getting part of that cake, right? So you still get the photo op and you also still get a big, beautiful cake cutting moment that's pretty, but you're saving money. And then lastly, we have the expensive transportation for the couple. The getaway cars are great for a photo op, but they have very limited utility. What I would recommend is if you are interested in having something that is pretty, find a wedding guest that has a nice car, okay? There's probably someone who's coming to your wedding who has a nice car, right? That's one way to cut on costs, is simply ask them for a ride and make it look like that is your car. Another thing too is to do Uber. You can do Uber Black cars, and believe it or not, it will really feel like a limo service, complete with a driver who's going to be dressed nicely and everything. And you can have someone call that Uber for you, or you can pre-schedule that Uber Black car. And someone is going to show up in a very nice car. And that will only cost you maybe $50 instead of hundreds of dollars to pay for a driver. Especially if you're staying in the same city that you're getting married in that night, right? You're not doing any extensive traveling. You're saving hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So to recap, the 5 things that you can totally cut from the wedding budget or minimize in the wedding budget: over-the-top stationery and invitations, party favors that you give to your guests, elaborate ceremony programs, extravagant cake designs, and lastly, the getaway car. Thanks so much. Reach out to EPG if you want any planning help.